We're going to have a lot more, guys, on the guilty verdict for Jodi Arias. But let's go to Cleveland right now. A news conference about to begin. The Cleveland Police Department, the city prosecutor's office, they're addressing reporters right now. Let's listen in.
The Cleveland Federal Bureau of Investigation, our partners from Washington, have completed a search of the Seymour Avenue crime scene and collected those evidentiary items they believe are necessary to successfully proceed through the criminal proceedings. We will not today, however, discuss the results of the search or the evidence that was seized at the crime scene. I'm joined this afternoon by City of Cleveland Prosecutor Victor Perez, Special Agent in charge of the Cleveland office of the FBI, Steve Anthony, Chief of Police Michael McGrath, and Deputy Chief of Police Ed Tamba. Prosecutor Perez will provide a synopsis of his review that was presented to him for consideration and his decision. Following the decision and comments by Prosecutor Perez, Deputy Chief of Police Ed Tamba will respond to those questions for which he can at this point answer. Of course, as I know you've heard this before, but I'd like to share it one last time, at least for today, that this is an ongoing investigation and there is evidence that cannot be disclosed at this time. But I know our law enforcement officials will do the best they can to provide accurate information to the extent possible. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce City of Cleveland Prosecutor Victor Perez.
Thank you, Director Flask. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Victor Perez, and I am the Chief Assistant Prosecutor for the City of Cleveland. First and foremost, I believe I speak for everyone in our city that we are happy that Michelle, Gina, and Amanda are safe and healthy. Second, I would like to thank the citizens that came to Amanda's immediate assistance when she was trying to escape that led to the eventual discovery of Michelle and Gina. I would also like to commend the members of the Cleveland Division of Police, the Cuyahoga County Sheriff's Office, the Federal Bureau of Investigations for their dedicated work in conducting the investigation in this case. Regarding this case, I just signed criminal complaints charging Ariel Castro with 4 counts of kidnapping and 3 counts of rape. These 7 criminal complaints are first-degree felonies. The defendant will be arraigned tomorrow morning in Cleveland Municipal Court, and his case will be transferred over to the Cuyahoga County Court of Common Pleas. The Cuyahoga County Prosecutor's Office will then proceed with the prosecution of these criminal cases. This case will proceed to the Cuyahoga County Grand Jury, at which time I expect will result in indictments on these charges and may result in additional counts. As it relates to Pedro and Ariel Castro, no charges will be filed against these 2 individuals at this time. There is no evidence that these 2 individuals had any involvement in the commission of the crimes committed against Michelle, Gina, Amanda, and the minor child. However, both of them do have outstanding Cleveland Municipal Court warrants for misdemeanor cases. These misdemeanor cases for Pedro and Ariel will both be heard tomorrow morning in Cleveland Municipal Court. Finally, as the Chief Prosecutor for the City of Cleveland, born and raised in Puerto Rico, I want everyone to know that the acts of the defendant in this criminal case are not a reflection of the rest of the Puerto Rican community here or in Puerto Rico. I also want to remind everyone that this is now a pending criminal matter and that we will not be able to provide any more comments at this time. Thank you.
Questions? Tom? Sure. Four kidnapped victims are Gina, Amanda, Michelle, and the young child. And the victims of the rape are Gina, Amanda, and Michelle.
Also, make sure that you state your name and what media outlet you're working for.
Brian Todd from CNN. Could you tell us anything about a search that we're finding out about just now of a second residence on Seymour Avenue where apparently officials went in with protective suits, masks, dogs? This was about 2 doors down from the Castro home. Could you tell us what's going on there, please?
Yeah, that is a continuation of the search that we conducted at the home on Seymour Avenue during the course of our investigation over the last couple of days. Information was obtained that provided us enough probable cause to seek another search warrant to go into that house and with an attempt to secure evidence.
Can you tell us anything more about what's going on in that house? Are there suspects there?
No, no suspects are there, and what's going on is that is the FBI's evidence recovery team, and that is their crime scene unit, and they do put the protective suits on, and they go in there with gloves, and they search and photograph very meticulously all the contents of that home.
What's the connection to the Castro home?
Well, I can't tell you the exact connection, but I can tell you that during the course of our investigation, the information that was obtained led us to that address.
Next question.
Good evening, sir. My name is Ainsley Earhart. I work for Fox News Channel out of New York City. A lot of our viewers want to know, did these girls over the course of that 10-year period, 11-year period, ever try to escape? Were there drugs involved? Was Ariel Castro drugging these girls to prevent them from escaping? And what allowed them, what window of opportunity allowed them to escape this time?
Well, number one, we're not positive about any type of drugs. If they were drugged, that's yet to be determined. Number two, the only opportunity after interviewing the young ladies to escape was the other day when Amanda escaped. So they were in that home. They don't believe that they've been outside of the home for the last 10 years, respectively.
Were they kept together in one room?
They were not in one room, but they did know each other, and they did know each other was there.
And one more question. What's her relationship, the child's relationship with the father? What will that be?
That is Amanda's daughter. And as far as the relationship, that hasn't been determined. There's going to be a paternity test taken. There was a search warrant executed on the suspect to obtain his DNA.
Great. Thank you.
Hi, Chief Tama, Jen Pachano with Channel 19. I wanted to know if Mr. Castro, Ariel Castro, was cooperating with investigators. Is he speaking to you? And do you suspect there are any other victims beyond these 3 women and the little girl?
Yes, he was. He was provided his Miranda rights, which he waived, and he did speak with us and provided us the Division of Police, FBI, and a prosecutor's office with a detailed statement. And as of right now, we don't see or we don't anticipate any other victims at where he's the suspect.
Okay, can I ask one more about the reward money? Do we know if anybody will be receiving any reward money, particularly Mr. Ramsey?
You know, we don't, but we are actually discussing that. So that's going to be up to the entities that put up that reward money and what their protocol is. But Mr. Ramsey does deserve something, a lot of credit, and he is the true key to this case. So
thank you.
Tom Barris with Channel 3 in Cleveland here. Would it be safe to say that the bulk of your case is based upon the statements for the women? How much of your case is based upon what they told you?
That's the major part of the case is what they told us and what the other interviews, what the suspect told us and what the young ladies told us, without a doubt. I mean, they were the ones that were there. They were the main players in it, and what they told law enforcement was key, and that's going to be a key part in the case.
I mean, were they able to get into the 10-year narrative here? I mean, the history, so much has transpired.
Well,
how much detail did you get?
You know, as far as the history of it, I mean, it was a lengthy interview, and I don't want to really get into that, but victims of rape, victims of trauma, particularly young victims, they've been known to disclose 10, 15, 20, 30 years later. So as of right now, they did provide us with enough information and enough factual basis that we would seek charges against Ariel Castro.
Thank you.
Hi, Alana Samuels with the Los Angeles Times. Is there any evidence that Mr. Castro or any of these girls could be in any way connected with Ashley Summers, or is there any new information that's come to light about her?
There is no new information that's come to light about her. Ashley Summers is an active, open investigation, and I can assure you that her disappearance was part of our questioning of the 3 subjects that we brought in. But that's still an open and active investigation.
And is there any sign that Mr. Castro was interviewed by Cleveland Police or the FBI prior to this date for any reason?
Nope. Yesterday was the first time.
Thank you.
Lisa Ronchla, WSYX out of Columbus. Wanted to ask, one, about the physical restraints that he allegedly used inside this home to keep the girls there, what verbal threats he may have made, and also other pregnancies, possibly miscarriages that the other girls may have had.
You know, all that is, evidentiary at this time as far as, and that hinges quite a bit on the prosecutions. I really don't want to get into exactly and answer those 3 questions. That's just something that is going to have to be brought out in court. I can't bring that out in the public. I can't. I know the chief mentioned something earlier about that today, but as far as exactly what that was, we cannot bring that out into the public forum at this time. It's not appropriate.
Joe Paganakis, News Channel 5, Cleveland. Was a suicide note from Ariel Castro found in his home?
That is another part of evidence that we recovered that I cannot comment on the basis of that. There was over 200 items taken from the home on Seymour Avenue. All those items will be processed. They were all taken into the custody of the FBI's evidence response team. They've yet to be processed yet. Exactly what they are, I don't know. There is a crime scene log, but that is part of the open investigation. But I can tell you there was over 200 items taken out of that home.
Any questions, Ed, about the citizenship of the Castro brothers? Are they U.S. citizens?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Thanks.
We had a lot of questions earlier regarding extra 911 calls that may have come up and not been responded to.
I'll try and answer that question the best I can. And immediately after the recovery of the 3 victims and their daughter from the home on Seymour Avenue, we began a search of our records to determine whether or not there were any other calls for service to that house on Seymour. Our review indicated there were no other calls except 1 call for service in 2000, and we were able to identify that Cleveland police were at the home once in 2004. For an incident that involved Mr. Castro as part of his employment as a school bus driver here in the city of Cleveland. As a result of the evidence that's been obtained thus far, the statements from the suspect and the victims, there is no evidence to indicate that any of them were ever outside in the yard in chains, without clothing or any other manner. In fact, I think the evidence we've obtained thus far indicates that in the last decade they've only known themselves to be outside of the home on 2 separate occasions, and that was only briefly.
Josh Haskell with ABC News. Deputy Chief, can you tell us about O'Neill and Pedro's relationship with their brother Ariel? Did they know that there were 3 women living in the house against their will? You think they had any idea about what was going on inside that house?
Well, as far as their relationship, I couldn't tell you. We focused on their knowledge or lack of knowledge, but absolutely not. There is nothing that leads us to believe that they were involved or they had any knowledge of this. And that comes from statements of our victims and their statements and their brother's statements. So as far as what their relationship was, Ariel kept everybody at a distance. So, and Joe, they are from Puerto Rico. So to answer that question about their citizenship.
Jennifer Lindgren, Channel 3 News. Can you clarify then why Pedro and O'Neill Castro were taken into custody in relation to this case?
They were with their brother, and it was a investigative stop. And as you know, early on, you can only imagine the chaos and the relief that we had finding these 3 girls. So we had enough probable cause to bring them into custody. They were brought into custody, as many suspects are. We continued our investigation. We found no facts to link them to the crime, and what we usually do is we consult with the prosecutor for charges or for them to be released. So that's the reason.
Can you tell us when their arraignment will be for their outstanding warrants and when they'll be able to go home?
They should be in court tomorrow, and it's up to the judge if he credits them with time served or whatever. But it's up to the judge, but they'll be in court tomorrow morning.
Thank you.